So you've realized that you can make a lot of money with apartment locating, and now you're wondering which sponsoring broker to pick and if it's really that big of a deal. In this video, we're going to cover sponsoring broker due diligence, and really this will be an easy video because there's just a couple of things that you need to look out for when selecting a brokerage firm to sponsor you so you can apartment locate actively. If you're not a licensed broker because you don't have 4 years of experience and 3 times the coursework, then you have to work under a sponsoring brokerage firm as a standard real estate agent. So first off, why is it a big deal to choose an apartment locating focused brokerage firm, right? Why couldn't you go to like Keller Williams or Remax or EXP is doing great things in the industry, right? So why wouldn't you be able to get sponsored under them and then do apartment locating? So that's like the biggest question that we get inside of our Facebook group with over 2,200 members and from a lot of our YouTube subscribers. Okay, the reason you wouldn't want to be sponsored by a traditional firm like Remax or EXP or Keller Williams, etc., is because those firms don't really deal with apartment locating full time. Those are awesome brokerage firms. They've got great support. They're doing crazy revenue, right? So all the resources are there for traditional realtors. But if you're looking to get into apartment locating, it's sort of a different world. Locating is a different beast in itself. Just because a firm is competent in real estate, if they don't focus on the thing you're trying to focus on, then the support might not be there. So that's one thing. But the main thing is the collections is not set up on the back end. Okay, if you followed apartment locating for a while or subscribe to this channel, then chances are you understand how apartment locating works and how it's very lucrative. In fact, if you Google the average locating salary compared to the average salary of a realtor, locators actually earn more than realtors. Isn't that wild? If you go to Indeed.com, Glassdoor, Simply Hired, or just Google it, you'll see that the average income is like over $70K now for locators compared to the $45K for realtors. So there's definitely an awesome opportunity with locating, but you want to set yourself up right. And part of doing that is choosing the right brokerage firm so that way you don't shoot yourself in the foot, right? And you can actually earn the higher income than that of a realtor, like all of Google says, right? There isn't a really important factor in doing that successfully. And part of that, the biggest deal is choosing the right brokerage firm, okay? So the collections is the biggest way you'll fail with choosing the wrong firm. If you go to a huge firm that doesn't really specialize in locating, then chances are they're not going to have all of the vendor registrations done and vendor fees paid off. Okay, it's not a huge deal, but it's time consuming and it's a lot of steps to set all that stuff up, right? So locating in general isn't a very complicated business. You can do this business from home on a laptop with Wi-Fi. So it's not like the business is hard. It's not like there's a lot of steps. There's really only 3 steps to the life cycle of closing locator clients compared to like a dozen steps if you were a realtor dealing with third-party companies, attending closing with a title company. Sometimes you have to do staging for certain resale homes, third-party inspection companies. It's a lot of moving parts for realtors, but as a locator, it's generally understood that it's only 3 steps. It's like lead gen, do a booked Zoom call if you're smart instead of in person, if you're like a better locator like our students. And then the third life cycle stage is just follow up, right? So it's not like it's incredibly hard to understand the business or why it's less challenging. But the thing is, if the brokerage firm at the brokerage firm level, isn't vendor verified as far as filling out the vendor application, paying the vendor fees, just look at the Texas market. There's over 400 management companies in Texas alone, right? Most of them are little, and then there's like giant management companies like Graystar, Roscoe, Lincoln Property Company, Pinnacle, all of those, right? Graystar being the biggest management company. So if your locating firm isn't vendor verified, they don't have the dues paid, the applications filled out, and then updated every single year, it's just going to delay your payment. And then there's other stuff they have to do too. Like you have to have certain errors and omissions insurance set up, sent over to the property. You also have to make sure your brokerage firm sends over the broker license, errors and omission insurance, the W-9. So there actually is a lot of moving parts to set that up. And if your firm isn't set up with all that stuff, it's just going to delay your payments, okay? So just because you can post a lot of ads as an apartment locator, do the calls, maybe you're really good at connecting with people over on the camera on the Zoom call, and you're really good and organized at follow-up. So like just because you can make $3 or $4 grand in a day as a locator doesn't mean you can collect it in a month or in 2 months, which is an acceptable time period, right? Making money as a locator isn't really hard, but collecting the money on time could be fine if you choose the right brokerage firm, but it could also be a disaster and then put a bad taste in your mouth of the whole industry. and it'll make you like sort of give up on the whole opportunity if you don't choose the right brokerage firm. That's the biggest takeaway here, is that collections are going to inevitably be slower if you choose the wrong firm. Okay, we've had a lot of students and agents sign up with us that set this up wrong, right? Like they went and got sponsored by a traditional real estate firm. Then they started leasing apartments like crazy because they went through our program. We taught them how to market. So they start marketing, they start closing. They love how it's an easy job, but then it's taking them over 2 months to collect on the checks. And then once we started diagnosing, like, why is it taking you so long to collect? We realized it's because they're getting sponsored by traditional brokerage firms, right? So all the advice that I'm telling you guys on this channel is from real world experience from our students or our agents or our partners that are in the industry. I know a lot of apartment locating brokerage firm owners in the industry just from being a part of it over the last 9 years. Some apartment locating brokerage firm owners have gone through our program, right? So we've trained some as well, right? So I'm telling you guys all of this because it's great that you found out about what locating is, how you can make a lot of money in it, how it's less challenging, how you can do it from home. All that stuff is good, and you can do 6 figures and you can make a lot of money with locating, but don't choose the wrong firm and then just shoot yourself in the foot and then put a bad taste in your mouth, right? So choose a firm in your local market that specializes in locating. You can almost just Google some, just type in like apartment locator in my area, and then you just interview at least 3 and make sure that they full-time focus on apartment locating, because chances are they're already going to be vendor verified and set up, right? Speeding up the collections process, because that's the number one thing that will make or break this business for you is the slow collections. There's actually a second big thing as well that can make or break this process for you, especially if you're a new agent. And the second biggest thing is the complimentary broker provided leads, right? As a new agent, when you choose a locating firm, what's cool is that chances are they're going to give you a handful of leads that are complimentary on the house. So it's really important for you to just have some leads to start working on as you're learning how to generate your own leads, hence our program, and then working and setting up your own marketing, your own infrastructure, and your own website. That's going to be the best way you can take advantage of this industry and work remote, and be anywhere you want in the world, is if you know how to generate your own leads and have your own, website infrastructure and organization. Okay. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You could use Google Drive for your business infrastructure. If you guys want me to do a video on like how we're teaching apartment locators to set up their entire company or business infrastructure on Google Drive, then let me know. Just shoot me a comment like, yes, make the infrastructure video, and then I'll make that video too. But the thing is, you want to have your own infrastructure, you want to have your own organization on Google Drive, and you want to learn how to generate your own leads. Okay, so that is what we can help you with. My company is the National Association of Locators. Boom, right there, if you can see that. And we help agents really become self-sustaining in this awesome niche of locating. So if you're interested in that, then check out the pinned comment below. Our website is nal.rent. Connect with my website and my team, and we'll see if we can help you out. So back to picking a sponsoring broker. Okay, so the two things really are they locating focused? Because you really want to make sure they have their vendor registrations set up and they're all set up with permissions, fees paid, and everything to collect for you in the fastest way possible. That's the first thing. The second thing is, are they going to give you complimentary leads? Okay, because starting off as a new agent in the field, that's really important, is to have some complimentary leads. It doesn't have to be much, because you can generate your own leads, especially if we teach you how to, but it's really nice when your broker just gives you free leads to work right off the bat. Okay, so other than if they're vendor verified and they specialize in locating, some complimentary leads, the next two things are pretty quick, okay? The third thing is, are they allowing you to work remote? Because some really traditional and classic locating industries in the market, even today, even after all the YouTube videos I've ever posted about how working remote makes you more money in locating, some firms still require you to work in office. And we understand the logic on like why they're making you do that. The reason they're making you do that is because, generally speaking, if someone will come in like in person and do an appointment with you and you can see them face to face, I mean, you're going to close at a higher rate. That's true. But the problem with that is that you end up booking off that time, and it usually takes a couple hours per appointment off your calendar. And most of the times these people don't even show up. So then it's just a giant waste of time. And then you're getting into like a bad habit of only working in person. So even though you can close at a higher rate in person, you can just work with more clientele and take more calls if you book Zoom calls. So still at the end of the day, like net to net, you'll make more net income if you work by booking Zoom calls and working remote and not actually working in office face to face. Right. But some brokerage firms don't get it. It's probably because they haven't joined our program or our community, but they might make you work in office as a requirement. So that's the third thing, is like, look out for that, because starting off, maybe your first 3 to 6 months, or maybe your first year, that's kind of a stretch. In office is fine because you learn about the business, you understand it, you're still going to make 6 figures. But going forward, you really want to work remote. So if the firm lets you work remote, that's the third most important thing to look out for in your due diligence, is if they'll allow you to work remote if you're producing, right? It's like sometimes some firms have this thing in place to where if you're like not producing more than 5K a month, then you're not able to work remote. I've seen that too. Okay, I've just seen a lot of locating owners and operators in this field. And that's because our company, NAL, the National Association of Locators, we have taught more locators than any company or entity or organization all across the world. So we've literally seen it all. And so that's something you want to look out for, is if they're requiring you to work in office, because that's not really so good after your first 3 or 6 months, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's like if you're a new agent and you're working in office your first 3 or 6 months, whatever, it's like, just suck it up. You're going to finally start making 6 figures and you're going to be happy during the 3 to 6 month period once you realize locating is actually awesome. And that's why I've been posting content about it over years. So like your first 3 or 6 months, just work in office, I guess, if they require you. It's not like a deal breaker. You're going to be super happy on how easy this business is compared to being a realtor. You're going to start making 6 figures and building a quick clientele that will later, evolve into home buyers that you can represent as a buyer's agent, right? So first 3 to 6 months, no big deal. But past that, if they're still not letting you work remote, I mean, that's the best way you can make money, is to work remote. So that's a no-no. Then the fourth thing and last final thing to look out for is just a broker agent split. Obviously, you have to split your gross commission for the month with your broker, because they're sponsoring you. They might be providing an office, or they might be providing some complimentary leads, right? And so it's pretty normal in this industry that you split some of your earnings for the month with your broker, right? So obviously a better broker agent split where you keep more of your income is always the best thing to look for. But don't just go for firms that charge a couple $100s a month and then they let you keep all your commission, because chances are they probably won't provide complimentary leads, which could make or break the process. Number 2 is they probably don't have a really solid state-of-the-art collection system. And remember, that was like the first big thing, is if the collections isn't state of the art, I mean, you're just going to get paid a lot slower than what you ought to be paid, right? So beware of brokerage firms that charge like a couple $100 and they're like, you can keep all your commission as a locator, because they're not going to support you well. The collections will be slower and they're not going to provide complimentary leads. So it's just overall a bad experience, So go to a firm that's like established, they're local to you, they do apartment locating full time. They don't care if you work remote, if you're producing. They can answer, locating questions, okay, if you're not part of our program. And look out for a firm that has a fair to pretty good broker agent split. But you have to weigh and think about it yourself. Like, are they giving me a lot of leads? Okay, then you can justify like a worse split, right? So there is no perfect answer on what is a good broker agent split. Hopefully, like, you're earning at least over 50-50, right? 50% to you or more is probably where you want to be at, especially if they're giving you free leads. So those are the things to look out for. So let's just recap real quick. Make sure the firm is locating focused, so they're vendor verified, because you want to get paid on time. Don't be like those agents that start locating, they make a bunch of money like on paper, and they don't really collect it for like 4 or 5, 6 months, because that's unacceptable. You should be paid like within a month or 2 if you're a good apartment locator at a good firm. All right, so the first one is if they're vendor verified. The second one is, do they have complimentary leads to give you? The third one that we talked about is the broker agent split. Is the broker agent split good? And the fourth one is, are they requiring you to work in office, or are they flexible? Like, if you're producing, will they let you work from home? Because that's the best way to make the most money. So I think I swapped the number 3 and 4, but those are the 4 things to look out for. So it's not like a lot. Hopefully this video helps you make an informed decision. And if you want to learn how me and my team of 6 other executives can help you set up your own website and infrastructure, help you generate your own leads so you're self-sustaining, and if you want to look into how we can coach you live for 90 days through live Zoom calls and a 90-day outline on what to do every single day, then check out our website. It's nal.rent. watch the quick little business breakdown video, and then book a call with us. Summer's coming up, I think, unless you're watching this video in the future. And summer is just always a really, really busy season. Generally speaking, apartment locating is always a good business. Some locators say December is like their worst month, but for me, it's my best month. And I think it's because in December, people move less, right? Families like to move in summer when the kids are off school, right? So larger families move in the summer. Okay, that's generally the reason. But in December, in my opinion, there are just better deals on apartments because people don't move as often as if it were summer. And so there's like a month free, 2 months free, app fee waived, like a lot of better deals and concessions during December. So I close a lot. December is usually always a big month for me. But hey, summer's coming up. No one even argues that. Summer is just a great time for apartment locating. And so if you want to get started in this 6-figure business, and if you want to learn if we can support you, then go to the website. It's nal.rent and reach out. Hopefully this video was insightful and helpful to you. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.